Hi Year 6, I hope you're all okay. This is Thursday's maths lesson. Now today's maths lesson is again on converting between different measures, but today we are looking at capacity. Before we go into the main part of our lesson, just like yesterday, we have got 6 arithmetic questions for you. So there's 6 questions, they're the same as yesterday but with different numbers, and then there are 2 stretch questions which you can have a go at if you want to. And if you want to challenge yourself. So if you want to pause the video now and have a go at those 6 questions plus the 2 stretch questions if you want to. Okay, hopefully you've had the opportunity to have a go at those questions, and we'll just go through the answers and try and go through them a little bit more quickly than we did yesterday. So first of all, 7 times 32, hopefully you did that as a short multiplication, and you should have got the answer 224. So just write that answer in there, 224. Question 2, again similar to yesterday, we've got something, take away 50 equals 555. So to answer this question you actually had to add 50 to that 555, which would give you the answer 605. Question 3, we've got 656 times by 100. If you remember, when we're multiplying by 100, we have to move the digits 2 places. And again, the reason that we're moving the digits 2 places is because 100 has got 2 zeros in it. So I'm taking my number 656. Think about where my decimal point is. That goes after the number 656. And then I'm going to move my digits 2 places. So my 6, if I move it 1 place, it goes to the thousands column, but I want to move it 2 places, so it ends up in the 10,000s column. Do the same with my 5, and my second 6 ends up in my hundreds column. Then I've got this gap here where I need 2 placeholder zeros. So my answer is 65,600. Okay, similarly with the next question, we've got 0.72, but this time we're dividing it by 10. So each of the digits need to move 1 place this time, and this time they're moving to the right. So we've got 0.72, and when I'm dividing by 10, I move the digits 1 place. So my 7 moves across 1 place, and my 2 moves across 1 place, and I need some placeholders in there as well. So I end up with the answer 0.072. Okay, question number 5 then. Getting to the trickier questions now. If you remember, for this kind of question, when we're adding fractions, we can't add fractions until we have a common denominator. So just like yesterday, our common denominator here is going to be 20, because 20 is in the 4 times table and it's in the 5 times table. So I'm going to write those original fractions out again. And then underneath I'm going to write them out with a denominator of 20. And then the question I have to ask myself is, what did I times the 4 by to give me that denominator of 20? What is 4 times something equals 20? Well, it's 4 times 5. Remember, with fractions, whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So I've got to times that top by 5, which gives me 5/20. Do the same on the other side. So I've got to ask myself, what do I times 5 by to give me the denominator 20? I've got to times it by 4. Must do the same to the top. So I've got to do 3 times 4, which gives me the fraction 12/20. Now this should be dead straightforward for me. 5/20 and 12/20 should give me 17/20. So I'll just rub my working out and write my answer in there, 17/20. Okay. Question 6, I had to answer it in exactly the same way as question 5. It's just I've got 3 fractions to deal with. So again, I'm going to make the denominators 20 for each fraction, and then I'm going to add them together. So what do I times 5 by to get 20? Well, I'm timesing it by 4. I've got to do the same for the top. So 2 times 4 gives me 8. What do I times 4 by to give me 20? I'm timesing by 5. I must do the same to the top. 3 times 5 gives me 15 on the top. And the last one, what do I times 10 by to give me the denominator 20? Timesing it by 2, so I've got to do the same on the top. And then I just add my fractions together. So 8 add 15. I do 8 add 15 is 23. Add my 2 gives me 25. So my answer is 25/20ths. If I wrote that in a test, I'd get the mark. I could also write it though as a mixed number. So I could write it as 1 whole 1 and 5/20ths. It's actually possible to simplify that answer. If you'd like to pause the video now, you could have a think about how can you write that in a simpler way. Okay, you might have come up with the answer 1 whole 1 and a quarter. In a test, you'd get the mark if you wrote any of these 3 answers. They're all correct. Okay, the stretch questions then. Stretch question number 1, the answer was 219,852. And question 2, the answer was 96. Okay, next then we've got our times table practice. So I'd like you to give yourself a minute, time yourself, and have a go at the times tables on the screen for me. Okay, hopefully you've had a go at that. Now we're going into the main part of our lesson. So as I said at the beginning of the video, our I can today is I can solve problems involving capacity. So just like we did yesterday, today we're going to be converting. Yesterday we converted between grams and kilograms. Today we're going to be converting between milliliters and litres. So capacity is generally about how much liquid can fit inside something. So we measure liquid in milliliters and litres. Now the important thing to know here is that there are 1,000 milliliters in 1 litre. Okay, very similar to what we learned yesterday about grams and kilograms. So if I have 1,200 milliliters and I want to convert that into litres, then I have to divide, I'm in milliliters and I want to get to litres, I have to divide that by 1,000. So I've got 1,000 milliliters and I want to convert that to litres. So remember, to divide by 1,000 we move each digit 3 places. So my 1 is going to move, it's not going to be in the hundreds column, it's not going to be in the tens column, it's going to be in the ones column. I end up with the answer 1.2. You might have put those 2 zeros on the end, but remember, if the zeros are on the end after a decimal point, they're not important. So my answer is 1.2 litres. Okay, doing it the other way round, if I want to convert from litres to milliliters, then I have got to times by 1,000. So if I had a question that said, what is 5.26 litres into milliliters, I've got to times that by 1,000. So if I take my 5.26 and I have to move each digit 3 places. So my 5 at the moment is in my ones column. If I move it 1 place, it's in my tens column. 2 places, it's in my hundreds column. But 3 places, it ends up in my thousands column. I do the same with the 2. I do the same with the 6. And then I'm going to need a placeholder here before my decimal point. So 5.26 litres is the same as 5,260 milliliters. So this is really similar to what you were doing yesterday, converting between grams and kilograms. So we've got some fluency questions for you to have a go at. There are 8 questions. The first 4 are converting from millilitres to litres. The second 4 are converting from litres to millilitres. So if you'd like to pause the video now and have a go at those, and I will go through the answers afterwards. Alright, the answers to the fluency questions then. Question 1, 1,230 millilitres is 1.23 litres. Number 2, 750 millilitres is 0.75 litres. Number 3, 260 millilitres is 0.26 litres. Number 4, 50 millilitres is 0.05 litres. Number 5, doing it the other way around then, 5.6 litres is 5,600 millilitres. Number 6, 1.3 litres is 1,300 millilitres. Number 7, 0.25 litres is 250 millilitres. And 0.05 litres is 50 millilitres. Okay. We're going to be applying that then to some problem-solving questions. The problem-solving questions, again today, some of them will involve reading scales. So before we have a go at some problem-solving questions independently, I'm just going to talk through reading scales again. Now, this time, we're not reading scales to do with grams and kilograms, we're reading scales to do with litres and millilitres. So exactly the same rules apply though. So first of all, we've got to work out what the scales are going up in. So I'm going to take this first picture and I'm going to see if we can work out what the scale is going up in. So if you remember, we want to count the points on the scale and then we're going to divide it by that total. So before I get to that first total on my scale, which is 100, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 points on my scale. So to work out what it's going up in, I've got to do 100 divided by 4. Now 100 divided by 4 gives me 25. So I know that it's going up in 25. So if I count up in 25, I've got 25, 50, 75, 100, 125. So there are 125 millilitres of liquid in that cup. Okay, next one I'll do, and then the other 3 I will ask you to have a go at yourself. So this time we've got to work out the difference between 100 and 200 millilitres. So in total it goes up by 100 from 100 to 200, but let's work out each point on the scale. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points on that scale. So I've got to do 100 divided by 5, which will give me 20. So I know each little point on that scale is worth 20. So if I read it, I've got 20, 40. So that liquid there is 140 millilitres. Okay, I'd like you to pause the video now and have a go at working out how much liquid is in each of these final 3 jugs. So if you want to have a go at that now. Okay. Jug number 3 then, hopefully you spotted it's going up in 20s, and there's therefore 80 millilitres in jug number 3. Jug number 4, hopefully that you spotted it's going up in 50s this time. So we've got 50, 100, 150, 200, and the amount of water therefore in that jug is 150 millilitres. And jug number 5, again it's going up in 50s, this scale, so halfway between 400 and 600, or going up in 50s, 50, 100. The amount of liquid in that jug is 500 millilitres. Okay, and now we're going to look at how we can apply that learning to some problem-solving style questions. So, question 1. A bottle contains 568 millilitres of milk. Okay, 568 millilitres. Jack pours out half a litre. How much milk is left? So the first thing you've got to ask yourself is how many millilitres in half a litre? Okay, because he's pouring out half a litre, but we need to know that in millilitres. So what is half a litre in millilitres? Hopefully you know it's 500 millilitres. Now it makes the question a little bit easier for us. We've got 568 millilitres to start with, but he pours out 500. Okay, so you probably can see that there are 68 millilitres left then in the milk bottle. Okay, the second question, I'd like you to have a read and have a go at that question yourself, and then I'll go through the answer. Okay, this question then says, Hassan this time has a jug with some water in it. He adds 140 millilitres of water, and it says draw a line to show the level of the water. Well, first of all, we need to know how much water is in Hassan's jug to start with, and that is 80 millilitres in there at the moment. So if we work out that scale, it's going up in 20. So at the moment, there's 80 millilitres in there. But he's adding 140 millilitres to that. So 80 add 140, we've got to work out what that is. So the answer, therefore, is 220. So we're looking for an answer of 220 millilitres. I know the question says draw a line to show it. Obviously, you wouldn't have been able to draw it because it's on your screen, but it would appear here. Okay, so the questions that I've just showed you, those are the kind of questions that you're going to get on maths.co.uk today. However, if you want to challenge yourself today and you find those questions fairly straightforward, there are some more difficult questions on there as well. So today I've set up 2 tests on maths.co.uk. The main work, but the second test is labelled challenge. And if you decide to have a go at the challenge questions, you're going to get questions a bit more like the one that is now on the screen. So I'll go through this question for you so you can have a look and you can decide whether you want to attempt the challenge or not today. Okay, so a bottle holds 1 litre of lemonade. Rachel fills 5 glasses with lemonade. She puts 150 millilitres into each glass. How much lemonade is left in the bottle? Okay, if you want, you can pause the video now and have a go at this question yourself, or you can just listen to me explain it. So the bottle holds 1 litre of lemonade. Rachel fills 5 glasses with the lemonade and she puts 150 millilitres into each glass. So the first thing we want to know is how much lemonade she has poured out into these 5 glasses. So she's got 150 millilitres into each glass, and there are 5 of them. So the first step for this question is to do 150 times by 5, because that will tell us how much lemonade she's poured out. 5 times 0 is 0, 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times 1 is 5, add my 2 is 750. So I now know she's poured out 750 millilitres. That doesn't answer the question yet though. The question says how much lemonade is left in her bottle. So she had 1 litre to start with and she's poured out 750 millilitres. 1 litre is the same as 1,000 millilitres. Take away my 750 millilitres. Do that as a takeaway. 0 take away 0 is 0. 0 take away 5. I can't do it. Can't go to the next column, so I've got to exchange. Ten take away 5 is 5. 9 take away 7 is 2. So I'm left with 250 millilitres, which is what Rachel has got in her bottle. Okay, I'd like you to have a go then, Year 6, at the activities on maths.co.uk. The first activity I would like everybody to have a go at, and as I said, if you want to challenge yourself and you want to have a go at some trickier questions, a bit like this one, which are multi-step, then have a go at those challenge questions as well. Okay.